I use technology specifically for informal assessments at least a few times a week. Today I'll discuss two such tech tools, and those are JeopardyLabs.com and GimKit.com. Jeopardy has been around since 1984 and has become an iconic part of popular American media. While it's a little dated in the streaming age, I found it can be used for practicing the majority of subject areas. JeopardyLabs.com is an incredible resource with many benefits for instruction. Yes, asking questions is always important for formally assessing student learning, but Jeopardy-style questions are particularly useful for this purpose. This is how it usually goes. I develop a set of questions based on multiple learning objectives. If you follow the link, you can see an example of one of these sets. As is the case with classic Jeopardy, there are presented multiple categories that scale in difficulty. For the sample set, there are 4 categories from 4 learning objectives. The questions are worth various numbers of points depending on difficulty, what we may call DOK. The final question of each category, for me, is a research question and is particularly difficult but aligns to the research for that objective. Students sit in groups of maybe 3 to 5 with a buzzer and a whiteboard. When the question is presented to the class on a clear touch, students must write the answer on the whiteboard using a dry erase marker and then hit the buzzer to be called upon. If they're correct, they choose the next question. If not, another group can answer. One of the major strengths here is that the questions aren't multiple choice, but can be scaffolded by providing students with a list of terms. So just by providing the list of terms or not, a teacher can change a taxonomy from remember to understand to possibly apply depending on the DOK. This provides teachers with lots of flexibility and allows teachers to be responsive to student needs based on other forms of formative assessment. Another strength is that students become competitive, which usually increases engagement. More engagement means more authentic interactions with the content, which can translate to greater mastery of learning objectives. Finally, Jeopardy aligns with almost any objectives across multiple disciplines. On the other hand, while Jeopardy allows teachers to informally assess students' learning across a range of DOK and taxonomies, it does not include analyze, evaluate, and create. Even if students were to create their own Jeopardy game for an objective, it still wouldn't necessarily be useful for creating, in that the function of this game lacks an investigative quality. It's best for practice. As an alternative to Jeopardy, I also use GimKit.com to develop practice games for informal assessment. GimKit is a website where teachers can build sets of questions and allow students to work through an assessment either individually or in groups. In this case, students log into a website using a code provided by the teacher. GimKit is not free, but can usually be used for a period of time as a trial before placing major restrictions on some of its features. GimKit allows for multiple choice questions, and so is particularly effective in helping students prepare for these types of assessments, which is probably the way at least some of their summative assessments look throughout the semester. Many of the strengths are the same. Teachers can cover a span of objectives all at once and get feedback on just students' relative strengths for each objective. These sets of questions are easy to create, can be duplicated to allow for more emphasis on a particular objective, and are quite engaging for students who can pick from several different game types. Teachers can also include questions of differing levels of DOK, but scaffolding will look considerably different, as all questions are multiple choice, which is to say, while questions are created with stems and alternatives, teachers may have to write scaffolded questions and to increase or decrease the difficulty depending on how well students do. GimKit also has limitations. While questions can be from DOK 3 and 4, there's still multiple choice, so teachers will need to be careful about using too many lower level questions. As Burkhart and Nico point out, this type of assessment in general limits students' ability to express their own solutions. With that in mind, GimKit may be good if the summative assessment is multiple choice, but if the teacher plans their summative assessment as a performance task, then GimKit will be less effective. Overall, both of these tools are effective for informal assessments, especially if students will end with a multiple choice summative assessment. Student engagement is excellent. The questions can align to a range of learning objectives. Difficulty can be increased or decreased, and teachers can easily gauge where students are in terms of their learning. I will continue to use both these tools. One technology tool I want to learn more about for assessment use and instruction in general is Edpuzzle. I was recently speaking to another teacher who was enthusiastic about this tool. Videos are a thing in every course for all 12 years of students' primary and secondary school. Edpuzzle allows teachers to add questions to videos. You can upload a file and edit in questions to appear at certain times. For me, I've had difficulty with how to best include look-fors when using videos in class. Edpuzzle allows teachers to place the look-fors, which are the content-specific questions, where they make the most impact. For example, if I want to engage my sociology students in a discussion of groups in society, I can use clips from popular films like Black Panther or Mean Girls and insert questions at a moment the students can best recognize. This allows teachers to review or discuss the scene and make connections to the content. Usually the learning targets are scaffolded towards the learning targets. Edpuzzle also naturally provides formative feedback regarding student strengths as teachers cover objectives. So I'd say it's a good plan would be review the objective and identify content specific to the objectives. Find a video that reflects this content. Insert questions where they make the most sense. Unlike Gimkit and Jeopardy above, Edpuzzle can actually be categorized as apply or evaluate under Bloom's taxonomy because they're interpreting outside content based on knowledge and understanding specific to a learning target.